"You'll never prove it was me," Rachel said with a smug smile. Her perfectly done nails clicked against her wine glass as I bent over in pain at the family dinner table. My vision was blurry, but I could still see the satisfied look on her face. Around us, everything was turning into chaos. My husband, Eric, was on the phone with 911. His voice was shaking as he tried to explain what was happening. My mother-in-law, Emma, stood nearby. She looked worried, but there was something else in her eyes too, suspicion. "My name is Kayla Tosh. I'm 34 years old, and I never imagined I'd end up being rushed to the emergency room during what should have been a quiet Tuesday dinner with my husband's family. I should have noticed something was off when I first tasted the coffee. It had a bitter flavor that didn't feel right. But I told myself not to say anything. I didn't want to seem rude or make a big deal. Rachel, my sister-in-law, had offered to pour the coffee for me. She said it was a new, high-quality blend she had just discovered. Suddenly, pain shot through my stomach. I could barely breathe. "Something's wrong," I said, gasping. "My stomach. I think I've been poisoned." Rachel laughed. It was a cold, sharp sound that seemed to cut through the room. "Always so dramatic, Kayla," she said. "Maybe it's just something you ate. Or," she added with a fake smile, "maybe you're pregnant." The paramedics arrived quickly. Everything felt like a blur. They moved quickly, placing me on a stretcher. The room spun around me as I tried to hold on to consciousness. As they rolled me out, I felt someone lean in close. It was Rachel. "Good luck proving anything," she whispered so only I could hear. "No one will believe you anyway. They never have." And sadly, she was right. Ever since I married Eric 5 years ago, Rachel had been trying to ruin my life. At first, it was small things. Personal items would go missing. She would twist my words or repeat conversations in a way that made me sound forgetful or rude. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. But over time, her actions got worse. Last month, the brakes on my car failed while I was driving. The mechanic said someone had tampered with them. Still, there was no proof. 4 weeks ago, I had an allergic reaction because my allergy medication had been swapped with something else. Again, there was no evidence to tie it to Rachel. Now, lying on the stretcher and feeling the pain move through my body, I knew deep down this wasn't just another coincidence. I believed Rachel had done something to my coffee. She wanted me gone, or at least humiliated. As the ambulance rushed toward the hospital, I tried to stay awake. My mind raced, not just from the pain, but from fear. Rachel was careful, clever, and always one step ahead. She knew how to twist the truth and make others doubt me. But this time, something had to change. I couldn't let her win again. Even if no one believed me right now, I had to start gathering proof. I had to fight back. I couldn't keep living in fear. This time, I would find a way to stop her. I struggled to stay awake. Everything around me felt blurry, and the pain in my body kept getting worse. A paramedic leaned over me, checking my vital signs and asking questions, but all I could think about was the look on Rachel's face. That cold, proud look. She had finally done it. She had taken things too far. This wasn't something that could be brushed off as just another accident or strange coincidence. "Stay with us, Mrs. Tosh," the paramedic said. His voice was calm but serious. "We're almost at the hospital. Can you tell me what you ate or drank before the pain started?" "Coffee," I said, forcing the word out of my dry mouth.
"Just coffee."
Rachel made it. When we got to the emergency room, everything happened quickly. Nurses and doctors rushed around me, taking blood, asking more questions, and running tests. My head was spinning, but I tried to stay focused. I had to. Eric arrived not long after. His face was pale, and he looked terrified. He rushed to my side. "Kayla, honey, what happened?" he asked. "Rachel said you were acting strange all evening before you got sick." Of course Rachel would say that. She had been preparing for this. For weeks, she had been dropping little comments to Eric, hinting that I was unstable or overly emotional. She wanted him to doubt me. She always had. Rachel never liked me. She thought I stole her brother away. From the start, she had done everything she could to make me look bad. And now, she had gone as far as poisoning me. "Eric," I said, grabbing his hand. My voice was weak, but I needed him to hear me. You have to believe me. Rachel did this. She's been trying to hurt me for a long time. I saw something change in his eyes. For a second, it looked like he believed me. But then his face turned cold. Liv, you're not thinking clearly. Rachel would never, she's family. That word, family, hit me like a punch. Family isn't supposed to treat you like this. Family doesn't poison your drink. Family doesn't try to destroy your life piece by piece. The doctor came back with the first test results. His face was serious. Mrs. Tosh, he said, we found something unusual in your blood. This doesn't look like regular food poisoning. It's something more serious. Rachel's smirk appeared in my mind again, like a haunting memory. I remembered her whispering, "You'll never prove it was me." But as the doctor kept speaking, something became clear. The test results had revealed something Rachel hadn't expected. It wasn't just poison. It was something even more dangerous. Something that would lead to a bigger investigation. The doctor said it looked like the same substance had been in my system before, just in smaller amounts. This wasn't a one-time thing. She had been slowly poisoning me over time. That was her mistake. She got greedy. She thought no one would ever believe me. She thought she had everyone fooled. But now there was proof. The heart monitor next to my bed beeped steadily. I took a deep breath, feeling some strength return. The truth was finally starting to come out. Rachel hadn't just poisoned me today. She had been doing it for months, maybe even years. But now, her secret was slipping through the cracks. This time, she had gone too far. And this time, I wasn't going to stay silent. She didn't mean to do it, but Rachel had exposed her own dark secret. A secret so big that it would flip her entire world upside down. As I lay in the hospital bed, I closed my eyes and remembered the look on her face at dinner, the calm, proud smile as I collapsed in front of everyone. She truly thought she had won. She believed she had finally found a way to get rid of me for good. But she was wrong. What she didn't know was that her plan had backfired. Sometimes, the truth comes out when you least expect it. And in my case, it did, right there in the hospital. I realized that this wasn't the end of my story. It was only the beginning. Dr. Patrick came into my room and sat down next to the bed. He looked serious, holding a tablet in his hand. "Mrs. Tosh," he said gently, "your blood test results came back. And we found something very unusual." I braced myself, unsure of what I was about to hear. "There wasn't just one kind of poison in your system," he explained. "There was a mix of toxins. What's more worrying is that the same mix of poisons appeared in 3 other poisoning cases from the last 6 years." I stared at him in shock. 3 other cases? He nodded. "Yes. All the victims were women in their early 30s. They survived, but no one was ever arrested. The police couldn't find enough evidence. The cases went cold. The last one happened about 10 months ago, just before you married your husband, Eric." My heart started beating faster. Something about that timeline felt familiar. Then, like a switch flipping in my mind, I remembered something Rachel said at my engagement party. She had smiled and joked, "You're lucky number 4, aren't you?" Back then, I thought she was just talking about Eric, past relationships. But now, I saw it differently. A darker meaning had been hiding in her words all along. Soon after, 3 police detectives arrived at the hospital. They introduced themselves as Detective Tyler and Detective Adam. They were calm but serious as they listened to my story. I told them everything about the bitter coffee, Rachel's strange behavior, and all the suspicious things that had happened to me over the last year. I didn't hold anything back. Detective Tyler looked thoughtful. "We're going to need a full statement from you, Mrs. Tosh," he said. "These poisoning cases have been on our radar for years. But until now, we didn't have any strong leads." While we were still talking, Eric walked into the room. He looked pale and confused. He had overheard the detectives talking about the other poisoning cases. "This can't be real," he said, shaking his head. "Rachel is a pharmaceutical researcher. She works with medicine and studies chemicals. She would never do something like this." But the look in his eyes told me he wasn't sure anymore. Sometimes, People don't want to believe the truth, especially when it's about someone they love. But the facts were starting to add up. Rachel knew how to handle chemicals. She had access to rare drugs. And now her pattern was becoming clear. Rachel had made a big mistake this time. She thought she could outsmart everyone. But instead, she had left behind proof that connected her to crimes from years ago. And now, for the first time, someone was finally listening. A pharmaceutical researcher? Detective Adam raised his head quickly. His eyes were sharp and alert. Where exactly does she work? Meridian Labs, Eric answered. She's been working there for 7 years. The two detectives looked at each other with concern. Meridian Labs had a break-in about 6 years ago, said Detective Tyler. Several experimental chemicals were stolen. We believe those same chemicals were found in the 3 earlier poisoning cases. I watched as Eric's face turned pale. All color drained from his skin. His mouth opened, but no words came out. His sister, the brilliant, successful sister he had always admired, was suddenly not who he thought she was. There's more, added Detective Adam. Each of the 3 previous victims had a connection to your brother, Mr. Tosh. One was his college girlfriend. Another was a coworker he dated briefly. The third was someone he was seeing right before he met Kayla. Eric slowly sat down in the chair beside my hospital bed. His hands were shaking, and his eyes looked lost. This can't be real, he said softly. Rachel, she's always been so protective of me. But this is something else entirely. I let out a bitter laugh. Eric, this isn't love. Rachel has been trying to control your life. She's been targeting every woman who got close to you. I'm just the first one who lived long enough to prove it. The room went quiet. No one spoke. The truth was too heavy. Rachel didn't just try to poison me. She had been working on this for years. She had been practicing, getting better at hiding what she was doing. She used her knowledge from her lab job to hurt people and never get caught. Detective Tyler stood up. We have enough to bring her in for questioning. Between the lab results and her access to the stolen chemicals, we can move forward. Wait, I said, suddenly remembering something important. Check my phone. After the brake line incident, I started recording our family dinners. Just the audio. I wanted to protect myself in case something happened. Detective Adam took my phone. He scrolled through the audio files until he found the most recent one. He hit play. Rachel's voice came through the speaker, clear and cold. Good luck proving anything, she whispered. No one will believe you anyway. They never have. Eric buried his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. Oh God, Kayla. You were telling the truth the whole time. And I didn't believe you. I defended her. I let her hurt you. Detective Tyler placed a hand on his shoulder. Mr. Tosh, we need to act fast. Your sister is smart, and she knows how to cover her tracks. Is there any place she might go if she feels threatened? Somewhere she hides things or someone she might trust? Eric looked up, wiping his face. She has a storage unit across town. She told me it was for her old lab equipment and paperwork. But now, I'm not so sure. Thank you, Tyler said. That might be the key. As the detectives prepared to leave, I looked out the hospital window. The sky was turning dark, but I finally felt like light was coming back into my life. Rachel had fooled everyone for years. She had hurt people and stayed hidden. But now, her lies were falling apart. And this time, the truth would finally win. Before Eric could even answer the detective's question about where Rachel might go, my phone buzzed. It was a text message from her. You should have died at dinner. Now I'll have to try harder. Family dinners are canceled next week. Permanently. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking. I showed the message to the detectives. They moved quickly. Detective Tyler grabbed his phone and called for backup. Detective Adams started making calls too. Within moments, they put out an alert for Rachel and issued a warrant for her arrest. But as I watched them leave the hospital room, I felt a chill go through me. I knew this wasn't over. Rachel had spent years planning and perfecting what she did. She picked her victims carefully. She covered her tracks. She didn't make mistakes often. She wasn't going to give up now, especially after coming so close. Eric sat beside me, holding my hand tightly. His voice cracked as he spoke. I'm so sorry, Kayla. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. I squeezed his hand back. We need to stick together now, I said softly. She's still out there. And she's not done. Outside the hospital, night had fallen. The heart monitor beside me beeped steadily, each sound reminding me that I was still alive. But somewhere out there, a woman who had gotten away with trying to kill people was already making her next plan. I had a strong feeling that the next family dinner wouldn't just be unforgettable, it could be deadly. In the days that followed, the police were everywhere. They searched Rachel's home, her office, and even her car. More and more secrets came to light. Rachel had disappeared, but the truth she tried to hide was finally being found. Detective Tyler returned to my hospital room one afternoon. He carried a thick file and looked tired but focused. We found her journal, he said. It was hidden inside a drawer at her lab. She wrote everything down. Every poisoning. Every step she took. Every time she followed someone. It's all there. My stomach turned as I imagined what was in those pages. But I also felt a little relief. Now we had proof. Rachel had left behind the truth. She was completely focused on protecting Eric, Tyler said. It started years ago. She thought no woman would ever be good enough for him. Later that day, I was finally leaving the hospital. But I didn't feel safe. Every shadow looked like danger. Every person I passed might be Rachel. I couldn't shake the fear that she could be anywhere, waiting. Then my phone rang. I froze when I heard her voice. You ruined everything, Rachel said coldly. But I can still fix it. My heart pounded. One last family dinner, Kayla. Just you and me, she continued. Or I start sending those stolen chemicals to every member of the family. Let's see how Eric handles watching everyone he loves suffer. Her voice sent chills down my spine. I knew I should call the police right away. I should tell Eric. But I also knew Rachel meant every word she said. She had already gone this far. I couldn't take the risk. Where? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Because if this had to end, it was going to end with me. I was tired of hiding. I was tired of being afraid. Rachel wanted one last dinner? Then I would be ready. And this time, I would be the one making the final move. The message from Rachel came in with a chill. Our childhood home. Tonight at 9. Come alone, or I start mailing the packages. My hands shook as I read it. I knew what she meant. Those packages would hold the dangerous chemicals she had stolen. I had to stop her. Before Eric came home from work, I left a short note on the table. I'm sorry. I have to end this. I knew he would be upset. The police would say I was being foolish, maybe even reckless. But deep down, I knew this had to end with me. Rachel had to be stopped before she hurt anyone else. The old Tosh family house stood at the end of a long, quiet road. It looked empty and forgotten. After Rachel and Eric, parents, passed away, the house was left as it was. Rachel refused to sell it. She always said she wanted to keep it for the memories. Now I wondered what other secrets were buried inside. I walked through the creaky front door and stepped into silence. The air was cold, and dust hung in the air. I found Rachel waiting in the kitchen, standing by the counter with a coffee cup in front of her. One last drink together, she said with a soft smile. Fitting, don't you think? Why? I asked, pressing the voice recorder on my phone without her noticing. Why did you hurt all those people? Why me? He was mine first, she snapped, her smile gone. My brother. My family. Then one by one, people took him away. But you were the worst. You made him love you. You made him choose you. He's not yours to keep. She pushed the coffee cup toward me. Drink it. Quick and painless. Better than what you deserve. I reached slowly for the cup, trying to buy time. My mind was racing. I needed something to happen, anything. Just then, a floorboard creaked behind Rachel. She spun around, startled. Eric stepped out of the shadows. His face was pale, his eyes filled with pain. I knew you'd come here, he said, his voice low. To the place where it all began. Rachel's face twisted in anger. You weren't supposed to be here. This was between me and her. It's over, Rachel, came another voice. Detective Tyler stepped into the room with his gun pointed forward. We heard everything. But Rachel wasn't finished. With a scream, she rushed toward me. I saw something shiny in her hand. A small syringe. Before anyone could react, a loud bang filled the room. A single gunshot echoed through the house. Rachel collapsed to the floor, the syringe rolling out of her hand. Detective Tyler had fired, hitting her in the shoulder. She was alive but stopped. Officers rushed in and placed her in handcuffs. The calm expression she always wore was gone now. Her face showed fear, sadness, and anger all at once. I did it for you, she shouted at Eric as they led her away. Everything I did was for you. Eric looked at her, heartbroken. No, he said quietly. Everything you did was for yourself. After that night, things became quieter. Rachel was no longer out there, planning or hiding. The truth had come out. Her journal, the recordings, the blood test results, it was all there. There were still many pieces to clean up, but the worst was behind us. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I could breathe. I had survived. And the woman who tried to destroy me was finally stopped. Rachel confessed to trying to hurt several people. Her journal, the voice recording, and the stolen chemicals found in her house were all the proof the police needed. She would now spend many years in prison, getting the help she truly needed. 7 months later, Eric and I were living in a new home, far away from everything that had happened. It was peaceful, and slowly we were healing. The last woman before you, Eric said one evening, his voice quiet. She survived, but she left town right after it happened. I always wondered why. Now I understand. I took his hand gently. We can't change what happened, I said. But we can choose what comes next. He gave me a small smile and pulled me into a hug. No more family dinners for a while. I laughed. Actually, I was thinking we could start our own tradition. New memories just for us. A few moments later, the doorbell rang. It was Detective Tyler and his wife, holding bags of takeout and smiling warmly. Dinner delivery, he joked. We welcomed them in. It felt good to have friends who had seen the worst but still chose to be part of our lives. New friends, a new beginning. The coffee pot sat untouched in the kitchen. Neither of us had used it in months. Some things, some traditions, we decided were better left in the past. And as we sat around the table, sharing stories and laughter, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. The past had tried to break us, but we were still standing. Together.